Welcome to Sports Talk 2319, and I am your host, Rashad Phillips, and I'm excited to bring to you guys today a whole different set of topics. It's conference play, it's wintertime, it's a little cold outside, it's nippy here in Florida, so I got my sweatshirt on today. We're going to talk about different teams, different styles, a couple games that I've been watching, and you know I got players for you. Let's go! Conference play. Let me tell you why I believe that conference play is the most important time of year. Because you have teams biting, jockeying for position, for postseason play, for March Madness, conference championships, standings, NIT bids, all those fun things. But there's a lot that goes into conference play. I can tell you from experience, this is when the coaching and the instinct of the player becomes vital. Now, when I played, I remember the opposing team coaches during conference play, they were actually calling out our plays before I can even call them out. And that's because during non-conference time, these teams have 8 to 10 games of film to study on you before you guys play. So the X's and O's to me during conference play really get thrown out of the window because the teams that you're playing against, they already know your offense. So a lot of these coaches are going to have to rely on the instinct of their players during conference play all season long and come up with some new offenses and some new wrinkles in order for that to work. Now, again, when I played, especially being a top scorer on my team, there was more to just the opposing team knowing our offense. I personally had to worry about the face guarding, the box and ones, the trapping on the ball screens. Teams will play more physical with me. You go into all those different elements during conference play that you might not see during non-conference time because the team that you're playing, they don't really have that type of scouting report on you. So as we look at these teams playing now, you can see and tell if you watch the opposing benches, those coaches and players are already calling out your plays. So instincts will play a huge factor for every team going forward in conference play. And that's what makes it fun to watch in the most important time of the year. Let's dig a little deeper into that thought. When I told you guys why conference play was the most important time of year, but also the most difficult time. But let me tell you guys how to defeat tough conference scouting defenses from a point guard standpoint. When I played, I was able to draw plays up on the fly during conference time that we didn't have in non-conference. And let's think about it like this. I love NFL, so let's talk NFL terms. Like a quarterback, you're able to audible out of your initial offenses and use other wrinkles from those same looks that the defense think is a certain play because it looks that way, but it's something totally different. Think about it like this. If we're running a 1-4 offensive set, we have a point guard at the top and you got 4 across, your 2 guards on both wings, your bigs in the middle, and that's a 1-4 set. We ran a lot of 1-4 sets when I was in college. What I would do, I would audible from the 1-4 set. So I would say 1-4, 1-4 when the guys were playing defense. These guys thought it was the 1-4 set from non-conference play, but what it was a different wrinkle where I was able to score out of that same set.
Napoleon over to Green. Each club's going to bring in a fresh body at the next opportunity. Phillips, top of the arc, and he's hit a couple in a row now.
That's 2 times in a row. He did a really nice job.
That is what great point guards are able to do during conference time to keep the continuity with your offense, but still allowing the 1-4 set or that look make it seem as if it's the play that you were running 2 months ago. A few teams that I want to shed some light on going forward now that the conference play has started. I think we all should tune in to these teams. The first team I want to start out with is the Texas Tech Raiders. This team is tremendous defensively. They're one of the best half-court defensive teams in the country. I believe they're second in the nation in points allowed, third in opponent field goal percentage. Keenan Evans is pretty good offensively. This team just they're not afraid. They punch you in the mouth. And if you look at them, and I've studied them on tape, I watched them beat convincingly a pretty good Baylor team, 77-53 the other day. And Baylor, 19 in the country, they're ranked. So if you look at this team's makeup, they're built for the long haul because they hang their hats on defense. This is a team that we should pay attention to going forward because I think they're going to shake some things up in the Big 12. How about Rutgers? Rutgers right now, I believe, is the #1 rebounding team in the country. They have a pretty good offensive player, Corey Sanders, out of Lakeland, Florida. This kid loves the big stage. He makes and takes some big shots. When you hear coaches, their philosophy on basketball, a lot of times they say the key to winning games is defense and rebounding. Rutgers does both of those very well. Now, they're near the bottom of every category offensively, but if this Rutgers team if they can get consistent from an offensive standpoint, I believe that they're going to have some pretty good wins going forward. They battled Michigan State. They lost by 10, but this team has the makeup. Again, if they can get together offensively, they have the makeup to be really scary going forward. Let's talk about Virginia Tech. They're the top field goal percentage offense in all of the country. They're top 5 in the country in three-point percentage. With those two metrics there alone, that lets you know that this team is high efficiency, they value possessions, and they make shots. Let's switch over to their shooting guard, Ahmed Hill. This kid is emerging as one of the top shooting guards in all of the country, and you can look at the statistics across the board. Really great player. You look at Justin Bibbs, Blackshear, Robinson. These kids can play. They value the basketball. They share it. They make shots. They're very fun to watch. This team has already scored over 100 points 3 times. They scored in the 90s 4 times. They scored 86 points against Kentucky in a close loss there. So you guys understand, you get my drift? This is a well-equipped offensive team. ACC, watch out for Virginia Tech. I believe the most intriguing, twisting, competitive conference going forward will be the SEC conference. From top to bottom, I believe that this conference will get 6 teams into the March Madness. But let's look at Auburn. Auburn, to me, is a phenomenal team. They're the youngest team in the country. Actually, they're the second youngest team in the country behind the Kentucky Wildcats. They have a motivating coach in Bruce Pearl, so he knows how to get those young guys going. Tennessee just dropped a overtime loss to Arkansas, and I believe that Arkansas, Tennessee, and Auburn, those 3 teams are going to fight it out for like that 6th spot going forward into the March Madness. You got Florida, you got LSU, you got Alabama. Texas A&M just lost to Alabama the other day. I mean, this conference is full of firepower, full of storylines, full of excitement. But I want to talk about the Arkansas Razorbacks because I think the Arkansas Razorbacks should be ranked, especially after the win over Tennessee the other day. But if you dig deeper into this team, they have Macon, they have Barford, 2 senior guards that know how to win. Arkansas is a team, they're ranked 7th in the country in scoring, 18th in field goal offense, 17th in offensive rating. So this team is metrically living up to its billing. Let's watch out for the Arkansas Razorbacks, but more importantly, let's just follow the SEC conference as a whole. It's going to be fun to watch. The player that I want to bring to you guys today is 6'5" shooting guard Victor Sanders out of Idaho Vandals, the senior. This kid looks tremendous on tape, doesn't waste a lot of dribbles, can score from all three levels. He's fantastic in transition, plays with a professional pace, doesn't allow the defense to dictate where he's going with the ball. Last season, he was second team, Big Sky, all conference. Broke his hand, so it slowed him up a little bit. But I watched this kid a few weeks ago against Western Michigan. 25 points. He hit 6 triples, and he was the best player on the floor by a margin. Now, when I dig deeper into this kid's files, he reminds me a lot of Lawrence Moulton. And if you don't know who Lawrence Moulton is, let me fill you in a little bit. Lawrence Moulton played at Syracuse back in the 90s. He was an all-time leading scorer in Big East history when he left. Played with a smooth approach to the game, was a second-round pick for the Vancouver Grizzlies. This kid, Sanders, reminds me a lot of Lawrence Moulton. He's a senior, so he has time going forward. I believe that this kid can at least get on the Summer League, NBA Summer League roster and maybe make a team going forward. But I really like this kid. Let's have a little fun today. If you look at my email a little bit below me, you'll see that you can send me in your questions and I'll bring them onto the show and try to answer them as best as I can for you. So we're going to start with some questions that I received a couple weeks ago. I got them right here. First question is Rich. Name is Rich out of California. He says, RP3, have you given up on my USC Trojans? You have kind of went cold on my team. Should I be worried? Well, Rich, let me tell you something. The loss of Derek Thornton has really hurt this team, and they lost 3 games in a row, and I think that kind of played into the tougher loss that they had against Princeton a little bit after that. They opened up with a game against Washington and dropped that one too. I still believe that this team has 2 NBA guys on that roster in Benny Boatwright and Chimezi Matu. So I think they can weather the storm at USC. But if I were you, Rich, I would be a little bit worried. The next question I got is from Sarah. And she says, I live in Atlanta, but my alma mater is North Carolina. I watch your show every week. Love your insight. Can my Tar Heels win another national title this season? Well, Sarah, appreciate you watching the show, but let me give you my insight on your Tar Heels. Right now, your team struggles with perimeter scoring. I've watched them a few times, and they just haven't found that guy that can give them the consistent perimeter scoring that Coach Roy Williams yearns for out of this unit. May is tremendous. Joel Berry is tremendous. But they do not have that third guy that can get them over the hump like they had last year in the Justin Jackson. So to answer your question, no, they cannot win the national title this year, Sarah. My last question of the day is from Jeffrey from Boston. If the season ended today, who would you have in your title game? That's a pretty good question, Jeffrey. Right now, if the season ended today, my national title game would be Michigan State versus Oklahoma. Let me tell you why. Oklahoma is 3rd in RPI. They've already beat some pretty good teams in Wichita State. They beat TCU the other day. They have the best offense in America. They have the best player in America in Trae Young. So that there would lead to me picking them to go into the national title game because point guards, great point guard play wins in March. And Trae Young right now is carving teams up. 39 points and 14 assists against TCU, which is a very good team. I just don't think that TCU did enough defensively to stop them. They didn't hedge the screens well enough. They didn't trap them. But that's a story for another day. Now, I believe that Michigan State is the best team in college basketball right now. This team has 2 NBA players on their roster in Jaren Jackson Jr. and obviously Miles Bridges. They have the best defensive unit in all of the country. They have the best coaching staff in all of the country. So this team here, Michigan State, is going to be, they're built for winning. They always have, always will be. But I'm going to do you one further. I'm going to call Michigan State on the phone. I'm going to get the associate head coach on the phone right now, Dwayne Stevens, so we can dig a little deeper into why I believe that Michigan State is the best team in America right now. Right now, we have associate head coach for the Michigan State Spartans, Dwayne Stevens, on the phone right now. Coach, welcome to Sports Talk 2319.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you guys are ranked number one right now, halfway through the season, and you guys have a great reputation of scheduling non-conference tough games. You guys are in the top of the RPI every year. And I want you to kind of shed a little bit of light of why you guys are always scheduling such a tough non-conference schedule.
You know what? We think it prepares us for later in the season. Once we get to the NCAA tournament, it's a situation where Coach always says when he's recruiting, the guys that come here that he wants them to live out their dreams and play against the best competition. And just as a staff, we feel like it's beneficial to us later in the season. We get a chance to gauge where we're at right away. And then in the NCAA tournament, hopefully it helps us out.
Yeah, I noticed that. And, conference time, we're right here in conference time, and you guys got Maryland coming up. I was telling the folks that were listening at home that conference time to me is the most challenging time of year because you guys are playing teams that are familiar with you, and you're going to play them twice, maybe three times, depending on the conference tournament. Tell me a little bit, what's the key ingredient to winning games during conference time?
For us, we feel like it's going to be defense and toughness. It's something that our program's been built on. Those are the staples, along with rebounding, and it's something that travels.
Yeah.
Sometimes your offense doesn't travel on those road games sometimes, and we feel like defense and toughness and rebounding, those are things that you should be able to do every night, and we just kind of stick to our staples and try to go from there.
And you guys have done a great job over the years with that. You've always excelled on the defensive end and rebounding. That's kind of been a staple, like you said, for you guys because, when the conference time does take place, guys have the scouting reports down. They've watched you during non-conference, so they have a lot of film. But those are some of the key ingredients to stick to is that defensive rebounding, like you said. I'm very impressed. You guys right now, you have 5 players averaging double figures with Miles, Langford, Winston, Ward, Jaren Jackson Jr. But I'm very impressed with Cassius. His efficiency has skyrocketed. He's shooting 57% from the field, 56 from 3, 87 from the free throw line. He's one of the top passers in the country, and I said before that he had the best vision in all of America. Tell us a little bit how Cassius has been able to improve so quickly.
I give Cassius a lot of credit because when everyone left this past spring to go home, we usually give the guys a month off. Cassius stayed here on campus. He got his body stronger. He worked on his shot, and he was in the gym and weight room every day, and I think it's been very beneficial to him, this season. Obviously with him being able to see the floor and having such a high IQ, we love that about him. Sometimes it gets him in trouble because he tries to make, that 1 in 20 pass. Some guards, kind of like yourself back in the day, had that tendency. But we love him to have that confidence.
course.
But he definitely has a high IQ. He's put in the work, and I'm happy for him because he deserves everything that he's getting.
And it seems to me, Coach, that he's more offensively aggressive this season. He's kind of looking for more of his shot on his own. He's taking advantage of defenses going under on the ball screen on him. He's making defenses pay now, and that's kind of opened up the passing lanes, is making those other guys around him better. So I've noticed that.
Well, I think the best thing about not just Cassius but our team in general is how unselfish we are, and the fact that we've had we played out in the PK80 tournament, and it was a tournament that had some of the best Nike schools in the country out there. And
Yeah.
I think it speaks to how balanced and how unselfish our team is that we had three guys lead us in scoring out there. Three guys were career highs. So in one game we had Matt McQuaid lead us in scoring. He hit a career high 24. We had Cassius had 30 one game, and then Nick Ward led us one game with 29. So three different players led us in scoring out there each game, and none of them was our best player, Miles Bridges. So I think that's what's most impressive about our team right now.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Last question, Coach, because I know you guys got to get to practice, and I know you got to get to film study. Speaking of Miles, there's not a secret. We all know that this kid is an NBA player. And there's always a little mystery behind great players. And you've been around hundreds over your years. And, tell us something about Miles Bridges. Tell us what makes this kid special.
I think what makes him special is he's the most humble kid that I've coached for someone with his stature. He's unbelievable around here on campus. When he made the decision to come back, the 3,000 fans, came out to see his decision. And, it's something that he's really embraced, the community and the campus and the students and the fans. They would go watch him over in the summer league, the Moneyball Summer League.
Yeah.
And kid would stay for an hour afterwards signing autographs and taking pictures with people.
Wow.
And, that can get kind of problematic at times for kids, and he's never shied away from it. He embraces it, and he never turns a person down for a picture, autograph, and I think that's what really separates him and makes him special. I think when you have that quality about you, that's something that they can market at the next level.
Yeah.
And I just think that that's kind of a neat deal, because you see so many stars today, that want to bring attention to themselves by, whether they're wearing the crazy hair or, being outspoken or, just having that edge to them. And Miles is kind of taking the exact opposite approach, and he's just being unbelievably humble. And I think that's what separates him from some of the great players that I've seen over the years.
Yeah, and it's a true testament to you guys' program for a kid of that stature to want to come back. Usually, you see kids after their freshman year and they play really well. They're trying to get on the first plane out of there, and it speaks volumes for you guys' program and him as a kid to want to stay patient and come back to school. And right now it's paying dividends for him, because you guys are right now the #1 team in the country. And I can't say enough about how excited I am to watch you guys continue to play and watch you guys develop players over your tenure. So thanks a lot, Coach, for joining me here at Sports Talk 2319, and I'm excited to see your Spartans continue to excel.
No problem, and I appreciate that. I think one of the things that's been great for Miles is that when he made that decision to come back, it wasn't as much about our staff or what we do here as much as it was he loves his teammates, and he said he wanted to play when he gets to that next level. He doesn't want to be in the D League or G League. He wants to go to that level and be ready to play and contribute right away. So I think it's just it speaks to the kind of character that kid has and the maturity that he has, that he knew that he wasn't ready to play, and he's worked on his weaknesses, and when he steps on that stage next year, he'll be ready to go.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And you guys have done a great job over the years in developing those type of talented kids. So I'm excited to see what the future holds for him and as well as your program. And again, thank you for joining me at Sports Talk 2319.
Thanks for having me, and hopefully you can have me back on when we make this tournament run.
Absolutely. I got your number on speed dial, Coach.
All right, man.
All right, take care.
Yes, sir.
I truly enjoyed today's episode, interacting with you guys, answering some questions. Hopefully those answers that I gave you will be helpful for you going forward. Speaking with the associate head coach for the Michigan State Spartans and Dwayne Stevens, thank you for joining me, and also giving you one of the players that's on my watch list. Again, my name is Rashad Phillips, and thank you for joining me at Sports Talk 2319. Love my expertise info on college basketball players? Want to perfect your own play? Order my training DVD collection now at www.rpskillsunlimited.com.